Welcome to Nice Ashes. I'm Mike.
And I'm Nate. What are we smoking today, Mike?
Today, we are going to smoke the Romeo Y Julieta Reserva Real. So, our unofficial name is For Real Yo.
For Real Yo. There's a nice bit of spice on the cap.
It's interesting. I didn't like the taste. I'm not going to tell you a lie.
Okay. Yeah. There is a little bit of a something for sure. All right, I'm lit.
I'm still in the process. Just getting it even.
Yeah, I took a little bit of time to get it even as well. This is a much... it's probably what? It's got to be almost double the diameter of the other one, the last one we smoked.
Well, I wouldn't say double, but it certainly feels like it, right? This is definitely a bigger ring gauge.
Yes. It's got a very nutty flavor at start.
Yes, it does. It's actually a very good start for a cigar, in my opinion.
Yes, I agree. I am again pairing mine with a Firestone Mine Haze Brain Melter Hazy Imperial IPA.
And I am yet again pairing mine with some ice water and a little bit of iced tea. So mine's Scottish breakfast tea that is, of course, chilled.
Yes. And if you are a member of the stick list level of our Patreon, you get the next 5 cigars that we're smoking and the dates that those episodes are airing. So if you wanted to, you could go out and procure those said cigars and smoke them with us on the show when you listen to the recording. And this is the first of the next batch of 5 that we put out on our Patreon. So something to consider. If you want to know in advance the cigars we're smoking so that you can smoke the same one when you listen to our episode, that would be a nice way or a neat way to connect with the listeners. You could give your thoughts right as we post the episode or, shortly thereafter after you've listened to it. And we could have some discussions if you felt the same way about the cigar or even the topic we're talking about. We welcome comments and other things wherever you might post them.
What are we talking about?
I was waiting for you to ask is what I was doing. I mean, I'm easy and I'll put out, but you got to at least make a little effort. So... We are going to talk about superstitions.
Superstitions. Okay.
Yes.
And is that what happens before you're a superstar?
It is. It is. And then I get nervous, and so I put my hands under my armpits, and I take them out slowly and smell them.
Yes.
So I have 6 pages of notes on superstitions, Mike. I did not use AI. I did it the good old-fashioned way, elbow grease, what have you. But I'm going to start with the one that kind of kicked this one off, because I said this superstition that my grandmother believed 100%. And then I thought to myself, gee, that'd be a pretty good episode topic. And here we are. We've made it.
Oh, my.
I was more interested in the historical significance or the reasoning behind the superstitions more than I was of just reading off a list of batshit insane, crazy superstitions. So we'll see. We'll see how it goes. And I'm planning on kind of going through the ones that I'm super interested in, maybe keeping some in reserve, because if there's some that you have that you're aware of, that we didn't mention, then we should talk about those too.
Absolutely.
But this first one, rocking an empty chair. So my grandmother, she had a rocking chair. She always liked those rocking chairs. I think they're called like kind of gliders. The mechanism is they glide more so than they rock. So they've got like a stable base, and then the way the chair attaches to the base, it kind of glides and the base doesn't move. So you don't have the curved wood rockers going back and forth, right? And you rock backwards across the room throughout the course of the evening.
I know exactly what you're talking about. I think everybody does.
Yes, hopefully. So that was what she always had. She always liked those chairs. As kids, we would like to push them when nobody was in them, and see how they'd rock and whatever. Just kids doing kid stuff. But she'd always say, don't you dare rock that if there's nobody in there, because that means somebody in our family's going to die. And she was very passionate about that. Have you ever heard that one, Mike? That superstition?
I'll be honest with you, I have not.
Okay. I don't know many people that have, actually, honestly. That's the one that sticks out in my mind, though, from my childhood. So I was trying to look up the history of it, and I have some really good history on some of these, and some of them I have less good history. This one is not very good history, and this doesn't make sense. Maybe you can help me make it make sense, because my grandmother was full-blooded German. Like her parents came over from Germany, and she was born full-blooded German. She could speak fluent German,
sure,
and everything. So this rocking chair superstition is apparently based on an Irish folk tale. I tried to look up which Irish folk tale this was based off of, but I had no luck. So if anyone knows, I would love to know which one, but I wasn't able to find that out.
Interesting.
Maybe somebody else can. So according to the Irish beliefs, rocking an empty chair serves as an inadvertent invitation to evil spirits. The act of rocking symbolically opens a gateway, allowing these malevolent entities to enter your home. As you sway the empty seat, the spirits allegedly find refuge in the void, casting shadows of dark forces and misfortune upon your household. And so I did find that sometimes it was just inviting bad luck, and sometimes it was inviting a death within the family. So the severity of this one varies. I read one that made me kind of like laugh out loud, which was, if the chair rocks on its own, it's too late. They're already there. So
sure. I mean, that makes sense within the paradigm of the story, for sure.
Yeah. I will go out on a PSA here and say I am not a superstitious person. I don't believe in these superstitions. But people do, and that's not a bad thing. We're not trying to shame you for being superstitious.
I'm not particularly superstitious myself.
Yeah.
I know a lot of people that believe in karma, and I don't know,
sure,
if that counts as superstition or not, but I think it probably does.
It probably does. Like I said, I was more interested in the history behind these because I thought for sure there was going to be some sort of like safety or health benefit to not rocking an empty chair, but I just couldn't find that. The next one you might have heard of, Mike. Don't open an umbrella indoors.
Yes, I actually said that.
Okay.
On 4th of July to my nephew as a joke because it rained horrifically and we were all stuck out in the garage and we had to tandem get umbrellas for everybody to get from the garage to the house, and of course he's opening and closing the umbrellas in the garage and I was just joking around with him. He's a teenager, you know. And he was doing it to get water on people, of course, like as you do on 4th of July, right?
Of course. Of course.
Yeah, it's a good time, right?
Yes.
So
this one and these next ones here all come from the same source, livescience.com. This one I have good history on. These next ones I've got really good history on. So a lot of historians, not a lot, but enough, trace this belief back to ancient Egyptian times. And so the superstition surrounds Pharaoh's sunshades. So they're not actually umbrellas, sunshades. But those were actually quite different and most likely unrelated to modern day umbrellas. So most of the historians believe that this superstition originated in Mike's favorite time period, Victorian England.
Nice.
So there's a book, Extraordinary Origins of Everyday Things, from 1989. The scientist and author Charles Panatti wrote, in 18th century London, when metal-spoked waterproof umbrellas began to become a common rainy day sight, their stiff, clumsy spring mechanism made them veritable hazards to open indoors. A rigidly spoked umbrella opening suddenly in a small room could seriously injure an adult or child or shatter a frangible object. Even a minor accident could provoke unpleasant words or minor quarrel, themselves strokes of bad luck in family or among friends. Thus, a superstition arose as a deterrent to opening the umbrella indoors. So they had, and our umbrellas have metal spokes, but it's like aluminum, and it's the flimsiest fucking metal ever if you've ever taken an umbrella out in the wind. So they're not the same as the Victorian London.
Yeah, the machining of
heavy metal.
Yeah, 150 years ago, not quite the same as it is today. So
yes. So this one has a basis in health and safety, which is mostly what I was looking for, because for every fable every fairy tale, every whatever has some basis or moral in real life to protect somebody or help somebody. You could say a lot of the allegories and things from the Bible are based in hygiene or safety or whatever, a lot of them, not all of them, but, a lot of them. So that's more of what I was interested in as opposed to, just doing a list of crazy superstitions, I guess. So, all right, you ready for the next one?
Oh, yes.
Walking under a ladder.
Yeah, I've heard this many times. It's actually a safety rule to not do that, for sure.
Yes, yeah, for sure, safety rule.
I don't think it's going to bring you 7 years of bad luck or whatever, but...
That's a mirror, Mike. That's a mirror. All right, this one has quite an interesting history. So this one did originate 5,000 years ago in ancient Egypt. A ladder leaning against a wall forms a triangle, which the Egyptians regarded as sacred. Hence pyramids, right? To them, the triangle represented the trinity of the gods, and to pass through the triangle was to desecrate them. So it wasn't just ladders. They wouldn't pass through any sort of triangle.
Hold on a second here, Nate.
Yeah.
Are you saying that the ancient Egyptians believed in a triune god?
Well, this one here says the trinity of the gods. It doesn't mean 3 entities being one god.
There's just 3 entities that are the gods.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. I mean, they have what?
They have more than that.
They have more. I know, but they've got like the sun god and the god of death and I don't know, some others. But the point is, Egyptians regarded the triangular shape as sacred, and that's why they built their tombs, the pyramids, in that shape, right? There's a reason for why they chose that shape.
Those are landing sites for alien spacecraft. I've seen the documentary Stargate, okay?
Okay, man. 5,000 years ago, aliens needed a triangular shape to land upon. Hence, it was sacred. Don't walk through it. You burn up in the warp core, okay?
Don't stand in the ring.
Yeah, don't stand in the ring. Stay away from the dilithium crystal. Anyway, this belief... Yeah, not to get all sci-fi uber nerd on everybody, but the belief wound its way through the ages. So the followers of Jesus Christ, hard T on that one. Get it? Anyway, sorry. Okay. They interpreted it in the light of Christ's death. Because a ladder had rested upon the crucifix, it became a symbol of wickedness, betrayal, and death. So walking under a ladder courted misfortune. And I've heard other things where Christianity co-opted a lot of different things, like there's a reason Easter and the equinox and things line up, blah, blah, blah. That's not the point of the episode, just little tasty tidbits later. In England, in the 1600s, criminals were actually forced to walk under a ladder on their way to the gallows, as like an extra punishment.
Okay. It's like psychological punishment that was banned, at least until Barack Obama was president, right? Or George Bush was president, yeah.
Yeah, well, waterboarding at Guantanamo Bay sounds fun unless you know what that means.
Yeah. Exactly. It's enhancement. It's not,
Yeah. It's, I mean, thank goodness it's not hypnosis and leading a witness.
Right. Yeah.
Just some good old-fashioned waterboarding. All right. 7 years bad luck for breaking a mirror. This one is actually pretty interesting, I thought. So in ancient Greece, it was common for people to consult mirror seers who told fortunes by analyzing reflections. So there's a historian, Milton Goldsmith, and he had a book, Signs, Omens, and Superstitions, published in 1918. Divination was performed by means of water and a looking glass. This was called catoptromacy, or whatever the appropriate pronunciation of that word is.
That rolls right off the tongue, doesn't it?
Oh, doesn't it? I'm going to go break a mirror in spite. The mirror was dipped into water, and a sick person was asked to look into the glass. If his image appeared distorted, he was likely to die. If it was clear, he would live. So I think that leaves a lot up to environmental factors. Was there a box fan in the room in ancient Greece?
Yeah. How long are they waiting between these two events?
Yeah. So that's ancient Greece. And then in the 1st century AD, the Romans, who also added women to orgies, improving upon the Greek orgies. They added a caveat to the superstition. At that time, and this goes back to our conspiracy theory episode, the gum guy. Gum stays in your body for 7 years, so if you swallow a piece of gum, you're safe for 7 years. But at that time, in the 1st century AD, Romans believed that people's health changed in a 7-year cycle, not a 7-year itch, which came later. But a distorted image resulting from a broken mirror therefore meant 7 years of ill health and misfortune rather than outright death. So the ancient Greeks said, if your image is distorted, you're fucking dead. And the Romans were like, nah, you just got 7 years of bad luck because that's how long it takes your health to change.
Very scientific.
Isn't it, though? I mean, obviously, we're going to make fun of some of these, but if you're superstitious, we're not trying to make fun of you. It's for me, it's more interesting learning the history behind some of these things, more so than making fun of them. But also,
the history
going
is
to
very
make fun of them.
Interesting. Yeah, I mean, you have to.
Yeah, I mean, so a modern day person believing that breaking a mirror causes 7 years bad luck likely doesn't know that it started in ancient Greece. And the 7 years bad luck wasn't added until the 1st century AD. So, you know what I mean? Like, and to think, however many thousand years later, that people are still saying, oh, if I break a mirror, that's 7 years bad luck. That's crazy that superstition has persisted that long.
Right. And, well, what I want to know is how does it extend? So if I, load up a trailer full of stuff and I'm moving and a mirror breaks in the trailer, is that bad luck on me? Is it on the trailer? Is it on the road? You know what I mean?
Think about this. What if you have more than one mirror in the trailer and multiple of them break? Do they stack? Or is it just 7 years for the bunch of them? You know what I mean? That's what I want to know.
Yeah. Is it magnitude? The magnitude is worse?
Yeah. It's all good things. One of our listeners, find an enemy. Set up a mirror trap where your enemy has to break all these mirrors somehow. I'm not saying like Saw style, but, put a couple mirrors in their driveway. So when they back out, they break a bunch of mirrors and then get back to us in 21 or other multiples of 7 years to see if they had that many years of bad luck. Or if it was just a really rough 7 years. You know what I mean?
Right. We're going to need some controlled environment here, though, too. You have to...
Yeah. Don't go making their lives extra bad on purpose. But yeah, multiple enemies, have a control group. Do it on a friend, too. And then see, that's your control group, the friend.
Right. Oh, my God. Don't do any of that. If that happens, I am not taking responsibility.
I'm not taking responsibility either. But I'm sure it would be similar to the Satanists abusing children under hypnosis or whatever, where even if we told you to do that and you did that, the chances of any of that stuff being able to be proved in court that we were malicious in encouraging you to do something like that, I don't know how you'd prove that, other than we recorded us saying that, which we're saying not to do that. So
yeah. Also, Alex Jones had $1 trillion settlement, whereas Boeing, it's only $250 billion, and Boeing killed people.
Boeing only flies planes. I mean, Alex Jones has a podcast, right?
Yeah, they only conspire to cover up things that were going to knowingly kill people. I mean, Alex Jones did some mean things on the internet. Clearly, that's
yes, worse. Of course, that's worse. That's worse. Of course, it is, Mike. All right. Have you heard the thing where if you spill salt, you have to take a pinch and throw it over your shoulder?
Yes.
Do you do that a lot,
the devil's
Mike?
Cut, something like that? No. I sweep it up into my hand and throw it in the garbage is what I do.
Yeah, there was, you don't just blow on it and wherever it goes, it goes.
I mean, outside.
Depending on how much.
Not in my
Depending
house.
on how much.
Yeah, not in my house.
Wherever it goes, it goes. Fuck it. Just my floors. I don't give 2 fucks. Okay. Okay, sorry. So, spilling salt has been considered unlucky for thousands of years. 3,500 BC, the ancient Sumerians first took to nullifying the bad luck of spilled salt by throwing a pinch of it over their left shoulder. This ritual then spread to the Egyptians, the Assyrians, and later the Greeks. The superstition mostly reflects how much people prized salt as a seasoning for food. The etymology of the word salary shows how highly we value it. So salary comes somehow through the language from salt. And salt is what allows us to, like, you could salt pork and preserve things. You could preserve things with salt for seasons when you would not normally get that stuff, right? So it's a very important. Would you call it it's a mineral, isn't it? Like, it's not a spice.
Yeah, it's a mineral.
Like a mineral.
It's a commodity. It's a mineral that's a commodity that's also a spice, and
Yes.
people need it to survive.
Yeah, you need
largely.
it in small quantities, but not in McDonald's French fries quantities. But you need salt in order to live. Also, the Roman writer Petronius in the Satycon, Satyicon, originated the not worth his salt as a description for some Roman soldiers who were given special allowances for salt rations called salarium, a.k.a. salt money, which is the origin for our word salary.
Do you want to do a cigar check? I'm not quite halfway.
I'm not quite halfway, but I'm definitely through the first third. Let's do a cigar check, Mike.
Very full-bodied. The first third was full-bodied and a little light. And now I'm coming into the middle section.
Yes.
And now it's very full-bodied and very full-flavored. And very round. It's a round flavor.
Yes. The first third was nutty, and I don't want to say light.
It's not light. It's full-bodied,
No.
but it wasn't a very intense, dark flavor.
Yes.
It wasn't very peppery. It was just moderate and mild and pleasant.
Yes. The second third is peppery, though.
Mm-hmm. We're getting into some cracked pepper for sure.
And there's some good shit.
Yeah. Oh, it's lovely.
I don't know if we've had a Romeo Y Julieta we haven't liked, though.
I don't think so.
To be honest.
I don't think so. They're pretty good.
We could check. You could go back and listen to our 100th and 101st episode. Then, we just came off one, the 1875 Toro, and we gave that a 5 and a 5.5. So they're generally, I think if you get one of those, if you find a Romeo Y Julieta, you're not going to dislike it.
No, and you can find them many places. I was at a cigar lounge or shop that was attached to a large liquor store last week or 2 weeks ago.
Okay.
And they had Romeo Julietas there, and they had some CAOs. And they even had Series R in there. So these are cigars that you can find that are good. Even in the random big-ass liquor store in a tourist town.
I feel like the Romeo Y Julieta is going to be in almost any cigar shop.
Mm-hmm.
Almost.
You're gonna find it.
They're a very common brand. Okay, you ready for the next one, Mike?
Oh, you know it.
We did this one a fair amount growing up. Knocking on wood.
I still do it.
Yeah.
Not that I believe it, but I still do it anyway.
Yep. Historians say this is maybe one of the most prevalent superstitious customs in the United States. The origin is very murky. Nobody really knows for sure. Some attribute it to the ancient religious rite of touching a crucifix when taking an oath. Alternatively, among ignorant peasants of Europe, it may have had its beginning in the habit of knocking loudly to keep out evil spirits, which to me sounds a lot like when you're camping and you make noise or you attach a bell to your person to make sure the bears and the wildlife stay away from you so you don't surprise something.
That makes a lot of sense because, we have like bears here, and it is wise to make noise when you are out and about, especially this time of year when there's still cubs around.
Yes. Yep. Yeah. We went, and I told the last episode that my wife and I just went camping, and she was like, "Oh, are there bears around here?" We were camping in, I don't know, middle of Wisconsin, and I was like, "Yes, there's bears around here." She's like, "What would you do if one came through camp right now?" And I'm like, "I'd go bang on something and scare it off." But they're black bears. And she goes, "Are there grizzly bears here?" I'm like, "No, absolutely not." And of course, growing up in the Boy Scouts, there were several instances at summer camp where bears would wander through camp. And, you keep your food in a bear box, or lacking a bear box, you would put any kind of food stuff up in a tree. You'd do it in a way. There's a certain way to do it to keep bears out. I'm not going to go into the details of that because that's not the point of the episode. But by and large, if you're walking through the woods, most of the animals in the Midwest want to avoid humans. There are some black bears that have grown accustomed to dumpster diving or, people mean food, that kind of thing. But by and large, if you make your presence known, things are going to leave you alone. Everything is not Cujo or The Edge The movie where the bear attacks everybody and they have to stab it with a spear.
That is a great movie, by the way.
Yes.
If somebody is listening and has not watched The Edge, watch it. It's great.
Yes.
It's a fantasy story.
Oh,
it's like a fantasy survival story, but it's great.
It's fantastic. But yeah, so I mean, I can get it. You know, the early peasants of Europe, if I knock loud, the spirits will stay away. Makes sense. Lots of things will stay away if you make noise. So. All right, the next one, and I do this one every time, but I only do it the first maybe 2, if you're lucky 3 times, and by the 4th time, I'm like, this is now on you. I've done my duty. I've done my due diligence with this. You're on your own. Blessing a sneeze.
I don't bless a sneeze.
Okay, I don't bless a sneeze by saying bless you, because I'm an atheist. But I say what my grandma said to everybody, which is Gesundheit, which is German for good health. So anytime somebody sneezes, I say Gesundheit. Second time, I'll say Gesundheit. Third time, it depends. But largely after the 3rd time, you're on your own. I'm not going to do it. So in most English-speaking countries, it's polite to respond to another person's sneeze by saying, God bless you. Incantations of good luck have accompanied sneezes across disparate cultures for thousands of years, all largely tied to the belief that sneezes expelled evil spirits.
Okay.
The modern custom began in the 6th century AD by explicit order of Pope Gregory the Great. So it wasn't enough for this guy to be called Pope Gregory. He had to add the Great to his name. You know what I mean? You're the Pope. You get the fancy hat. You get the Pope mobile. But no. You're Pope Gregory the Great.
Right. And he was Pope when being Pope meant something, because he had an army.
Man. Hey. All popes should be humble in the eyes of the Lord. This is Pope Gregory the Great over here. He's going to do a crusade on your ass. Watch out.
Yep. Greg the Great.
Yeah, it was apparently an explicit order by Pope Gregory the Great. I wonder how he was in bed. I have to ask an altar boy.
They were allowed to have wives back then.
Okay. It doesn't mean they also didn't like altar boys.
That's true.
All right, so apparently at the time of Pope Gregory the Great, a terrible pestilence was spreading through Italy at the time, and the first symptom was severe chronic sneezing, which was often followed quickly by death. And so Pope Gregory urged the healthy to pray for the sick and ordered that lighthearted responses to sneezes, such as "May you enjoy good health," be replaced by the more urgent "God bless you!" with an exclamation. If a person sneezed when alone, the Pope recommended that they say a prayer for themselves in the form of, God help me. That's going to be my new thing. Well, actually, so what I say is like Gesundheit myself or whatever, because that's a line from The Man Who Knew Too Little, a Bill Murray movie. And he is like a bumbling character as Bill Murray plays in a lot of his films. But he's believed to be a super spy. And so he's like going around and he thinks he's on like a murder mystery type thing, right? Like somebody signed him up for this to go do this kind of like evening entertainment thing where people pretend that you're this person. And so he's like, oh, Gesundheit myself. Like he sneezes and he's being shot at on a ledge. And he's actually like really being shot at in the film, right? And he's like, stop, you jack offs. I got something in my eye. To these people that think he's a super spy. So it's hilarious. So if you haven't seen The Man Who Knew Too Little, great fucking film. But anyway, the God Help Me is hilarious. So next time I sneeze, especially on like a work meeting, I'm going to scream that. I'm going to scream it. I'm going to yell it. It's going to be loud.
I'm sure that will be appreciated.
Hey, if they come at me, I'm gonna start talking to them about the war on Christmas.
I love the war on Christmas. It's the best. I love it. It's been going on my whole life. Somehow we still have Christmas.
Mine too. The satanic panic, right?
Yeah, it's weird. Even I have a goddamn Christmas tree.
Well, the Christmas tree isn't Christian.
No, that's true.
It's the manger scene and stuff. But apparently it's a war on Christmas because some fat guy in a red suit is, I don't know, shouldn't be coming around, I guess. Anyway.
Yeah, fuck Tim Allen.
Yeah. Not really. I mean, like, I don't know, as far as
I have nothing against Tim Allen.
Galaxy Quest. Sign me up. All right. Hanging a horseshoe on your door or door frame or whatever, but the open end has to be up.
I saw something today that did trigger me. As I was at a place and somebody had a horseshoe hung up on a pole and it was pointed face down. And I instantly said, "Oh, your luck is draining out." In my head, I didn't say it out loud.
Yeah. You should have told him. He probably doesn't know. Probably
all your luck is
know.
draining out.
Yeah, hey, buddy, your beer can's upside down. All your beer's...
It's leaving.
Yeah, it's gone. So the horseshoe is considered to be a good luck charm in a wide range of cultures. Belief in the magical power of a horseshoe traces back to the Greeks, as a lot of these things do, who thought the element iron had the ability to ward off evil. Not only were horseshoes wrought of iron, they also took the shape of the crescent moon in 4th century Greece for the Greeks, which was a symbol of fertility and good fortune. The belief in the talismanic powers of horseshoes passed from the Greeks to the Romans, which is a common theme with everything. The Greeks and then the Romans kind of improved upon things. And from the Romans to the Christians. In the British Isles in the Middle Ages, when fear of witchcraft was rampant, and I know you know how to tell if somebody's a witch, Mike.
I do.
Yes.
Do you want me to tell the crowd?
You should.
Well, you bind the witch up and you throw them in the water. And if they sink and drowned, they're not a witch. But if they float and survive, then they are. And then you take them out and you either hang them or you burn them alive.
Yes. Or if you don't have a lake nearby, you can put them on a scale next to something that also floats, tiny pebbles or a duck.
And that's even better.
A la Monty Python and the Holy Grail. Okay. In the British Isles of the Mid-Ages, witchcraft rampant. People attached horseshoes open end up to the sides of their houses and doors, and people thought witches feared horses and would shy away from any reminders of them. So I guess it's kind of like putting a clove of garlic above your door to keep vampires out.
Sure. What my question is the witch expert ever the suspect in the witching trial thing? You know, like, how did they find out all this secret knowledge that the witches have if they don't know these witches? Or are a witch themselves. Like, I don't know shit about being a witch. I would never claim to know anything because I'm not a witch. I don't know what witches are afraid of. Maybe witches are afraid of vacuum cleaners because they really like brooms. You know, I don't know.
Yeah, it could be. I don't know. Maybe they don't like vacuum cleaners. That's a good point. I don't know how they know. I think it has a lot to do with, was your hypnotized child the victim of a satanic cult at the preschool?
I'll have to call my friend Pulsiver and he will tell me.
Yeah, I'll call my friend Lucifer. I think he might know more. Lucy, for short, on the golf course anyway. All right, black cat crossing your path. You've heard this one?
Yes, I have.
I mean, that's kind of a dumb question. I mean, most people have heard that.
Most people have, yes.
A lot of cultures agree that black cats are powerful omens, but some believe they're evil, and some believe they're good. So the ancient Egyptians revered all cats, black and otherwise, and it was there that the belief began that a black cat crossing your path brings good luck. And this positive reputation is recorded again in the early 17th century in England. King Charles I, or one. Do you call him the first or one? I don't know. King Charles I.
I'm pretty sure it's the first, but that's okay.
Watch out, there will be sequels. King Charles I kept and treasured a black cat as a pet. Upon its death, he is said to have lamented that his luck was gone. The supposed truth of this superstition was reinforced when he was arrested the very next day and charged with high treason, which was all due to the cat and not King Charles I's poor life choices.
What were those poor life choices, Nate?
You know what? I don't know. I know a lot of the kings like to behead their wives. There was one king who wanted to divorce his wife, and the church said no, and so he just beheaded her and got another wife. And when he didn't like that one, he beheaded that one because it wasn't divorce, so he was still safe in the eyes of the Lord.
Makes sense to me.
But I'm sure you know what King Charles did.
No.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I don't know. Anyway, I'm sure they all did something, right?
Sure, he was a naughty boy.
Yes. There's a reason shortly thereafter. I mean, so 17th century England is 1600s, right?
Mm-hmm.
And shortly thereafter, America was like, we're America. Get out of here with your evil kings. During the Middle Ages, people in many other parts of Europe held the opposite belief. They thought black cats were familiars or companions of witches, or even witches themselves in disguise. And that a black cat crossing your path was an indication of bad luck, that the devil was watching you. And that was the dominant belief held by the Pilgrims when they came to America, perhaps explaining the strong association between black cats and witchcraft that exists in the country to this day. And I believe the Japanese believe black cats are good luck as well.
Interesting. I know, because I've been told this by animal shelter people that certain times of the year they will not give black cats to people. Because apparently there's still people out there that do bad things to black cats at certain times of the year, which is bizarre. In the 21st century America, that would be happening. Like, what is going on?
Literally almost any time or any place in modern times. Number 13. You've heard of this. Some buildings don't have a floor 13. They skip from 12 directly to 14. Even though if you're counting, floor 14 is really floor 13, so I don't know that they're really circumventing anything. You know what I mean?
I've heard that. I've also heard that some very large buildings have a floor 13 that is a mechanical floor, and then they reestablish electrical services, and they reestablish their HVAC system, and they'll put like water pumps and shit to push everything up higher.
Sure.
So there is a floor 13. It's just not a floor that the
public can go to.
Yeah, the public can go to.
Sure. Yeah, that makes sense. So fear of the number 13, which is also known as, and I'm going to butcher this one too, Mike, triskaidekaphobia, which makes sense, right?
Oh, that is common. That's a common word. I can't believe it's difficult.
I know. I use it in memos all the time at work. I never pronounce it. So that's the issue. So the fear of the number 13 has origins in Norse mythology. In a well-known tale, 12 gods were invited to dine at Valhalla, a magnificent banquet hall in Asgard, the city of gods. Loki, that fucker, the god of strife and evil, crashed the party, raising the number of attendees to 13. The other gods tried to kick Loki out, and in the struggle that ensued, Balder, the favorite among them, was killed.
Damn Loki.
I don't know if it's Loki or these fucking dinner parties, man, being so exclusive. Scandinavian avoidance of 13-member dinner parties and dislike of the number 13 spread south to the rest of Europe, and it was reinforced. This was not co-opted. This was its own unique thing that just happened to tie into this. Pure coincidence. It was reinforced in the Christian era by the story of the Last Supper, at which Judas, the disciple who betrayed Jesus, was 13th guest at the table.
Oh, that's a weird similarity.
Yeah, I thought so. Crazy how coincidences work like that. But apparently, there's been statistical studies on this, and there's no statistical evidence that the number 13 is unlucky.
Sure. I know that there's no 13th frame in a bowling game, so 13's irrelevant.
Yes, indeed. All right, so those are my very well historically based superstitions. Now, I've got more, but I'm a little less thrilled with the historical data to back some of these up.
You don't have facts to back your story up?
There's facts, but they're not as concrete as the ones that we just went through.
I see. You're Bennett Brown Jr.
Why shouldn't I be? The next one, and I never heard this, but I have heard things similar to this. Green paint. And I never knew green paint was unlucky. Or I've never heard that. I've heard stories of, Victorian era paints having terrible chemicals in them that killed people.
Right.
So, and that's what this is 18th century, the creation of synthetic green dyes involved the use of cupric hydrogen arsenic, which sounds good, but it isn't. It's a lethal concoction. And artisans of the time didn't know that this color held the secret. When it was dampened, it released toxic gases, and it threatened the lives of those that inhabited those rooms. So that's one where it kind of created its own thing. They didn't know it was poisonous, and they used it. Everybody loved it because it's a new color. We've never seen green before. I guess they're too busy playing video games in 18th century England to go out and look at grass and trees. But they had new ways to make the paint, and it killed people.
Interesting.
I don't know if you've heard of the paint, early paint killing people.
No, I took a safety course a while ago, and now, of course, I don't remember what it was about. But they showed some pretty horrific images of painters' hands. The painters used to get, of course, lead poisoning, and it was so severe in their hands and their arms that their wrists would go limp, and they couldn't. It's like horrifying. The images are bad, you know. And apparently it would clear up because it was acute lead poisoning, and it would clear out, and then they could regain use of their hands. And then, of course, over time it would become chronic, and they would go crazy. But
well, and Bob Ross, it was the thinner he used, I think.
Oh,
that led to his death. The paint thinner.
Interesting. I've never heard that.
Okay. I believe. I may be wrong, but I thought there was something where that was what caused his illness that killed him.
Sure.
All right. Broken or stopped clocks. Have you heard of this superstition, Mike?
No, I have not.
Yeah, me either. But it goes back to I've never heard of it. Here it is. Get ready. Just kidding. In the art of Feng Shui. Feng Shui? Feng Shui. I don't know how you pronounce it.
Feng Shui.
Depends on where you're from. Feng Shui. Broken or stopped clocks are more than just a malfunctioning timepiece. They are gateways to unbalanced energies and stagnant life forces. Feng Shui, whatever, vehemently warns against harboring broken items within the sanctuary of one's home. A broken or stopped clock embodies both internal and external clutter, disrupting the flow of energy within and around us. Timekeeping tools should always be in perfect working order, which Mike agrees with, acting as metaphors for the seamless passage of time and fluidity of life itself.
So don't have mechanical watches that stop?
Well, it just says your timekeeping tools should be in perfect working order.
Sure.
And I don't think it's talking about, I don't think it's talking about taking a pause to change a battery or to repair a gear or whatever. It's just saying don't harbor it. Like if it breaks, fix it,
Sure.
Not that a stopped clock will stop time.
That would be a great superpower.
Wouldn't it? According to Feng Shui, though, it inhibits the natural order of the passage of time or the flow of whatever. So, how about cacti? Have you heard any superstitions surrounding cacti?
Don't sit on them. That's what I know.
Yeah, I know that as well. Don't grab them. This is another Feng Shui thing. Plants with spiky or thorny exteriors, such as cacti, can bring tension and negative energy into our homes and relationships. Plants with sharp points emit a type of energy known as sha-qi, which is often associated with conflict, arguments, and other forms of discord. This energy can be particularly disruptive in areas of the home where we want to relax and create a harmonious atmosphere, such as bedrooms and living rooms. And I can see not putting a cactus in your bedroom. But otherwise, I quite like cacti. So
yeah, I'm not against it. I don't want people to sit on them accidentally if they're hiking in an area where there's cactus around. You might want to watch where you're
for
sitting.
Sure.
I actually saw that once. It was pretty hilarious. In hindsight, it wasn't funny at the time.
No, not funny at the time. We were in the Southwest American desert somewhere, and they have, I think it's called a cholla cactus, but it's a low to the ground type of cactus, but its spikes or spines are barbed. And my mom stepped on one, and it went right through her tennis shoe, and it was not fun to remove. So, but I don't think that's the type that is a decorative thing that you would put in your house. Like, people aren't putting a barbed cactus thing in their house. I hope for decoration. That's just one of those things.
People have venomous snakes as pets in their house.
I know, man.
So it's like the dumb shit. You shouldn't say dumb shit. If you have venomous snakes as pets, I hope that you enjoy having them sleep in your bed. But, I am not keeping around a pet that is actively trying to kill me, for sure.
Yeah. Well, there was just a news story about a woman filming her daughter picking up the world's most poisonous octopus. I don't know if you saw that, Mike.
No.
But it's this little tiny, purple octopus thing. It could fit in the palm of your hand, but apparently if it bites you, that's it. There's nothing to be done. So, you know what I mean? There's a common sense aspect to some of this stuff.
I know that in China, there's a wave of people that steal fish from fish markets.
Okay.
And there's been quite a few people that steal venomous puffer fish and then cook them at home and then die. And then there's been lawsuits against the fish markets because they stole a puffer fish.
Okay.
And they somebody in their family ate it and died.
Yeah.
And apparently they've won against the fish market, even though the fish market wasn't selling it to the general public. Apparently there's uses for these fish that are completely legitimate, but not eating them.
Yeah. And whatever the uses are, there's a certain way to prepare them, right?
Yeah, I think it's used in traditional Chinese medicine, and they make a painkiller with it, but they dilute the poison down and all that sort of stuff, So they're selling them to legitimate people, but apparently if you steal it and eat it, you can sue.
Yep. A burglar broke into my friend's home, fell on a butcher knife on the kitchen counter, sued my friend and won. What do you have to say to that, Mr. Fletcher? I'd have got him 10.
Yep.
All right. Yeah, I don't know, man. Like, if you're stealing something, whatever happens to you, I think. It's one of those, like, fuck around and find out situations in my mind. That's not necessarily the legal interpretation of it.
I agree. You know, if you have a snake pit at your house and a burglar comes in and falls into the snake pit, are you responsible for what happens to the burglar? You know, like,
well, that is a little more gray area. I mean, we talked about the Minnesota guy who laid in wait for the 2 teenagers or whatever to come into his house, right?
Yeah, your friend.
Yeah, my best bud.
Your best bud.
My drinking buddy. Whereas that is, like, if you have a snake pit, well, and if you set traps in your house, the person breaking into your house is going to win the lawsuit almost every time.
By snake pit, I didn't mean booby trap. By snake pit,
I understand that. I understand that.
You know, it's like having a TV in your living room, except you're a Satanist and you have a snake pit, you know, as a feature, you know?
No, I get it. If you have a legitimate reason for having a thing, but if you're setting a trap, by nature of the trap, it's indiscriminate. So anybody who comes into that room would spring the trap. Therefore, the burglar is in the right because you weren't targeting them specifically. That's the weird way the law works. So if you have a snake pit, for the purpose of having a snake pit that burglars fall into, you're probably not going to win, other than you won't have your stuff burgled. But yes, I think if people fuck around, they're going to find out, and I think the finding out should be just. It's just. I don't know, by and large. Anyway, not the point of the episode. Next one, unmade bed. Outside of your parents, have you heard any superstitions around an unmade bed, Mike?
I know that if you have an unmade bed and you have pets, your bed will get covered in hair. So you should be making your bed as long as you don't want to sleep with dirt and hair and bits of treats and remnants of toys and whatever else happens.
Yeah, for sure.
When you're not there to supervise.
Yes. There's an age-old superstition that leaving your bed unmade or encountering an interruption while making it can cast an eerie spell upon your night's rest. The superstition suggests that an unmade bed is a harbinger of sleepless nights, as if the disheveled blankets and tousled pillows disturb the harmony of a slumbering space.
Okay. I wonder if that is rooted in, like, having a pet cat and then finding a dead mouse in your bed.
Possibly.
You know what I mean?
I know what you mean. I also know the science behind an unmade bed is the same as if you go camping and you sleep in a sleeping bag. When you get home, you're supposed to unzip your sleeping bag and let it air out. So there is a counter-argument or scientifically based argument to leave your bed unmade or uncovered to let the undersheet and the under mattress and stuff to kind of air out after a night of sleeping in it. So I don't know that there's really I don't believe about eerie spells. That's not something you can scientifically prove. I understand about not getting cat hair and dog hair and whatever else said pets might drag into the bed. But I think there is something for letting things air out a bit. And maybe it's just change your bed sheets. If you haven't changed your bed sheets in a while, do it right now when you're listening. Go do it. We'll be here when you come back. Or if you have Bluetooth headphones, the good kind, Keith, then do it while you listen. I think we probably don't change our bed sheets as often as we should, but I don't think they get overly grody either. I don't know. Like, who's the judge? I don't know.
Can you change your bed sheets too often? I don't think so, so.
Yeah, it's like, can you shower too much? Probably if you're peeling skin off, but
right.
Like, cleanliness is important. All right, the next one is dead plants and taxidermy. You have any taxidermy in your house, Mike?
No, I do not. Do you?
Depends on what you consider taxidermy. Do you consider, like, deer antlers taxidermy?
Yeah, I would say that.
All right, well then, yeah, we got taxidermy. You don't have any deer antlers?
I do not. Hunter? Well, I am a hunter. I go fishing as well, but I don't have any taxidermied animals in my house.
Okay.
Yeah.
What?
Not against it. I'm not against it, but I don't have any. I've never shot a trophy class buck or anything, and I've never caught a trophy class fish. So I know that if I go spoonbill fishing here or next year and I catch a whopper, I'll probably have the paddle, taxidermy and put it on the wall. But I've never got myself a record or anything. So
yeah, that makes sense. So ancient beliefs. The presence of dead plants or taxidermied trophies hold an unspoken weight. Having deceased entities in our living spaces invite a somber and stagnant energy into the house. And that's about it. There's not really... That's what I mean. Sure. Like some of these, they don't have anything more than just like, ancient people weren't really about that. But ancient people also died at a higher percentage rate than we do, so...
Right. I know someone who has a taxidermied horse in their office.
Like a full fucking horse or just the head?
Like a horse. Like they taxidermied a horse that made a shit ton of money for them. So they were like, hey, we're going to taxidermy this horse because, it made me a millionaire. That sort of thing.
Okay.
Yeah.
Were they straight out of The Godfather or...
No, they're horse breeders.
Okay.
They are horse breeders, and this horse had very valuable semen, apparently.
Okay. So they did the whole horse and just not just the horse cock?
Not just the cock. No, not just the cock. That'd be great. That would have been a better story.
Wouldn't that be even better? You could put it on the mantle. People are like, oh, is that a decanter? Or what is that up there? It's no, it's a horse cock.
Right. I mean, I've known some people, I've been in their houses where it's like they've taxidermied like every single animal they've ever fucking shot, and that's crazy. But I've seen some cool taxidermy. I know a guy who has a tree farm and he shot a beaver that was fucking with his tree farm and it was huge. And he had a taxidermied because it was so big, like ridiculously huge. And, stuff like that.
Oh, yeah. I've got taxidermy stuff of the deer that I've shot because my dad is into taxidermy, so he does it.
Sure.
And that's why. I didn't go and pay somebody else to go do taxidermy stuff. I don't have any fish taxidermy that I've ever caught. From my understanding, they don't actually take your fish. They get most of what they do is spray paint. So they'll take a picture of the fish you caught and they find a fish of similar size or whatever they can kill and preserve or something. And then they spray paint it to match the fish you caught. The fish taxidermy stuff is way more artificial than the mammal stuff.
Right. The popular thing for fish now is to take measurements.
Yeah.
And then to take pictures and then provide that. And then they make a fiberglass copy, and then they paint it. So you can put the fish back. You don't have to keep the fish to get a taxidermy version of it, Which I've gotten close to getting a trophy class walleye, but never over 30 inches. 29.
Okay.
29 and change, but never the 30 mark. And I've got some pretty big northerns, but nothing over 40. So way she rolls.
Yes. Have you heard any superstitions about outdated calendars?
No.
Quick, check your house. So this is similar to the broken clock. Displaying a calendar stuck in the past is believed to invite misfortune and push your luck to the edge. According to age-old beliefs, the seemingly harmless act has the power to curtail prosperity and even shorten one's life. The calendar, once a symbol of order and foresight, transforms into a precursor of ill fate when its pages remain trapped in yesteryears.
What about the guys who collect the dive trucker titty calendars and then put the best looking, quote unquote, best looking women, they'll take that one and they'll put it on the wall, so they keep a record of all the quote unquote best looking chicks that's been in the shitty truck stop titty calendar over the years.
Yeah.
Is that bad luck? I mean, it's definitely bad form, but
well, yeah, bad form. We just rewatched Tremors 2 Aftershocks, and the main character in there has a Playboy calendar from October of many years past, and the woman he ends up meeting fighting the graboids happens to actually be that Playboy model. She's like, oh, I actually modeled for Playboy once for a calendar. And he's like, oh my God, October, whatever. And she's like, yeah. And that happened to be the one that he had as the best of, right?
Yeah. I guess that is a phenomenon that is A relic of the past, right?
Yeah, hopefully.
I'm guessing so.
I certainly have never had a nudie calendar.
I have never had a nudie calendar. I have been to the truck stops where they have nudie calendars, but I never sought them out. I knew they were there, but I never went out and looked for them. Let's put it that way.
Yeah, for sure. How about fireflies or lightning bugs, depending on where you're from?
Is this good luck or bad luck? Because I like fireflies.
This is bad luck.
Okay.
So, if a firefly or lightning bug finds its way into your home, it carries with it an unsettling prophecy. This age-old, it's a Victorian superstition, whispers that the presence of this creature heralds an imminent departure. Basically, someone in your family going to die. And not only your family, but within the confines of the house that it found its way into.
Well, I can't guarantee there has not been a firefly in my house, but I'm pretty sure nobody's died in it, so.
Yes. I feel like a firefly in the house would be something I would remember, so I don't know that this ever happened. But I don't think they're like other bugs, where a lot of other bugs that are nuisances, and I don't consider fireflies a nuisance, but nuisance bugs always find their way into your house. And fireflies just don't.
No, they're not like a moth or a mosquito or a deer fly.
Yeah, for sure.
Or a lady
even a
beetle.
housefly, for sure.
Yes.
Yeah. How about broken or chipped dishes?
Nope.
All right. So I know there's a Japanese art where you repair broken dishes or broken pottery with gold. And it's more beautiful. They consider it more beautiful than the original. But anyway, there's another feng shui thing where chip plates or cracked bowls can usher in negative energy. The cracks, small as they may be, serve as conduits for discord, inviting misfortune into our lives.
Sure.
I don't keep broken or chipped things because they're broken and chipped. And why should I keep them? Well, and most things are whatever the fuck they are nowadays. It's not like they're actual pottery. They're whatever they are, and when they chip, that's it. Like the chip is a porous surface that collects food and moisture and grime and germs and dirt and grossness. So why would I keep that?
You're so practical, Nate. What about the beauty of a dish that's partially broken and can damage you?
Yeah, well, take a picture or paint it and put it in an art gallery and then throw it the fuck away. Can't chip or break if it's paper. Anyway. The old paper plate, saving the day. Now, I've never heard of this one, but this is apparently one. An old broom.
What about old brooms?
When you move into a new home, you're not supposed to bring an old broom. Don't bring the broom you used in your previous house. It's common superstition that an old broom will sweep good luck away. This one may have roots in common sense, meaning old cleaning tools could introduce germs and stuff from your previous residence. So it could potentially have some merit, but I've honestly never heard of that either because I've brought my broom everywhere. I've only ever bought one broom. I don't know why you would need more than one broom. I think moving, even if it's just apartment to apartment, is expensive enough to not have to buy a new broom. But you know what? Maybe if I'm unhappy one day, I'll say, it's this fucking broom. And maybe I'll go buy a new broom, and maybe my luck will change. Who knows?
I recently bought a new broom, but it was a shop broom, and I didn't have one, and I needed one.
Yeah, you weren't.
So I went and bought it.
You weren't replacing an old broom.
No. I didn't have one, and I needed one, so I bought it.
Yeah. That's different.
Yeah.
But when was the last time you bought like a regular broom for the house?
Probably when I had my first apartment.
Okay, and that one broom has carried with you all that time?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure. I don't recall,
I'm not trying to call you out. I'm just saying, like, it seems silly if your broom is in good condition to throw it away when you move somewhere else.
I agree.
I've not heard that superstition. I understand about bed bugs and stuff and not getting furniture off of the fucking curb after a rainstorm, but I've not really heard the old broom thing, so.
I'm getting dangerously close to the end of my cigar, sir.
Okay. I've got another, let's call it 1.5 inches left, but that's okay. One more is a lucky penny.
Yes.
Apparently, it's an old Irish tradition that's originally associated with the buying and selling of farm animals. After the buyer and seller would agree upon the terms, the seller would then gift the buyer a sum of money for good luck. in old Ireland, it typically would have been a penny. So you conduct your business, the buyer would toss in an extra penny as good luck. I don't know if it's fully good luck or if it's just the precursor to tipping, maybe.
Sure. I've heard don't pick up a face down coin.
Yeah, I've heard that too. If you find a penny on the ground, if it's face up, it's good luck. Otherwise, it's bad luck. So leave it's a penny.
I was always told to kick it over to where the face was up and pick that fucker off the ground. You make your own luck.
Make your own fate.
Yep, you make it yourself. So kick it over and pick it up.
That's good stuff. Were there any superstitions we didn't touch on, Mike, that you know or you're familiar with?
Superstition of black dogs. People fear black dogs.
Okay, sure.
Yep. I don't know what the root is. I have discussed it at length with my Sarah. And there's just like that innate fear of the black dog, you know?
Yep.
And maybe it's the darkness and, I don't know.
Yeah. Well, there is a fair amount of, and it might be evolutionary, dark animals you can't see at night.
Right. Because, a black dog can definitely sneak up on you at night, for sure.
Yeah. Any others you can think of? I'm trying to think. Are there superstitions?
Yeah, I'm not a superstitious person, so I'm sure they're
I'm not
out
a superstitious person. I know. Yeah. Okay, you've heard of this one, though. This was one in high school, like 11:11.
No.
The time, like 11:11, either right before noon or right before midnight, was a time to make a wish. I remember there was one, too, where if you're driving and you go over train tracks, you put your feet up and I think you touch the ceiling of the car. I don't remember why. I'm sure good luck. I don't know the origin of that, though.
Have
you ever heard of that one?
No.
Maybe that's just fucking small town bullshit. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, I have no idea why. I've never heard of it. I know don't stop on the train track.
Well, that for sure. That for sure.
But, yeah, superstitions. No. I know you got to let her soak.
Oh, yeah. All right, so some drivers believe you have to lift your feet off the floor of the car when you go over a bridge or railroad track. Apparently, it's believed that if you don't, you will never meet your true love or get married. Some people believe that if you don't, you'll die young.
Okay.
So apparently that is kind of a commonish enough to have plenty of Google hits for raising the feet off the floor of the car, crossing a train track.
What if it's a long bridge? How are you supposed to drive?
Cruise control, man. Cruise control.
Sure.
It's a superstition that started when cruise control was invented.
Right. Yeah. Okay.
I don't know. I'm trying to think of things that are like, I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know.
Should a Pisces date an Aries? I don't know. The fuck do I know?
I don't even know what months they're from.
How would I know?
Yeah.
I only recently learned how to say the months in order, so there's that.
I don't think I could name all the signs of the zodiac.
Man, I don't know. And then you get people that are super into the zodiac, and then the Chinese zodiac, and what animal are you?
Yes. Tiger, dragon, rabbit, pig.
There's like a rat and a monkey.
Oh, yeah, rat, monkey.
And a monkey.
Yeah. It's got to be more than that. I don't know what they all are.
Yeah, I don't know what they all are either. It's not important.
Not to me. It's very important to somebody, and that's what matters,
Yes. And the whole point is, if it's important to you and these superstitions we've talked about are important to you, we're not poo-pooing them. It was more like the history. So a lot of these were based in ancient Greece. Some were in ancient Egypt. And a fair number were in Ireland. So that's where a lot of these things come from.
Well, lifting your feet up when you cross a bridge in your automobile definitely sounds ancient Greek to me.
Well, if they're riding in a carriage or a chariot or something, right?
Yeah, standing in their chariot. You gotta lift your feet up.
Oh, fuck. Headstand time. Handstand time.
I would love to see that. That'd be a great skit.
Oh, hell yeah.
No, never heard of it.
I think the modern day superstition is if your phone rings, don't answer it. Because everybody texts or messages on some other app. nobody calls.
Not very often, that's for sure.
That's like a modern superstition. If somebody's calling me, it's probably spam.
Yep. I pretty much, on my personal phone, every number that calls that isn't saved goes straight to voicemail.
Yep. I have a spam filter, so it's like spam incoming, and I'm like, okay, you do your thing with it. I'm not going to touch it.
Yep. I can tell you I get a lot of product warranties off my voicemail. It's great. I got product warranties on my 1978 pickup truck, and I got warranties on everything. It's great. I have that extended warranty.
Yep. We've been trying to reach you about your car's extended warranty.
Yep.
Thank goodness you found me.
Thank goodness. A Nokia phone that I don't own, and it's just great.
Yep. Yeah. What are you going to do with all those warranties, Mike? Is that your retirement
collect
plan?
on them someday.
Yeah. Hell yeah. Yeah, my 2001 Nokia phone bit the dust. Give me a new one. Give me my warranty payout.
That's so funny.
I love those fucking class action lawsuits. Like, I've been in some of them, and they give you the notification or the notice, and you send it back in. And I think I made, out of all of them, maybe like $12.
Sure.
Which is fantastic, because it was $12 I didn't have. But people are like, oh, yeah, this company had to pay out however many billion dollars for the class action settlement. Well, how many fucking people are involved in that? That's like $1 each or something.
Yeah, and most of it went to the lawyers.
Yeah, for sure.
Which is how the system's set up. But,
yeah.
Well, it's like Boeing paid $250 billion. I think it's 248. It's like their operating budget for a week or whatever. There's some stat where it's like nothing. Like, they literally, it's not even a penalty, right?
Oh, to them, it's chump change.
Yeah, it's nothing. They voluntarily settled for that.
Like, they got to put in standard instead of the premium gas in their planes or something for a week to make that up.
Right. They probably built it into the cost. Well, they did. Like, their adjusters built that into the cost of putting inferior parts in. So
yeah, or they write it off as a business loss or something. They don't have to pay as much taxes next year.
Right.
Whatever. I went to the gas station the other day, Mike, and I always put in the 87, just the cheapest, whatever the cheapest thing is, because I have a 20-year-old car, right? And so I put my card in, did all the shit, and it said pick your grade, and I picked the unleaded, like 87, and it defaulted to the 92, like the premium.
Mm-hmm.
And I couldn't change it. And I'm like, well, I already fucking put my card shit in, so I'm going to put in the gas. So I put the gas in. And then I was cruising in the car with Sarah and the kids, and I was like, yeah, can you believe it? I went to the gas station, and I maybe put in the 92. She's like, oh, what a ripoff. And I'm like, you know what? She's 20 years old. She deserves the good wine every once in a while. And then I hit the accelerator, and it was good times. What are you going to do?
I get a kick out of the people that complain about the price of gas, right? They're like, oh, the Biden administration, the price of gas, blah, 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 all this.
Yeah.
And I actually talked to a guy, and I said, I remember during the Obama administration paying $4.50 a gallon for gas.
Yeah.
And now, what is it, $3? And $1 is not worth $1 in 2014 or whatever. So it's way cheaper now than it was then. Like, no matter how you want to look at it, people just like to complain about it because it's not 89 cents anymore like it was in 1991.
Yeah.
It's like, well, 89 cents in 1991 was worth a lot, probably was worth $3 now, right? Like,
yeah, for sure.
It's no difference.
Yep.
The price of fuel is lower now than it was, even 10 years ago.
Yeah, comparatively with all the adjustments for inflation and blah, blah, blah.
So
still too expensive in my opinion, but...
Well, it's expensive for sure, but...
Especially driving over the potholed roads and all this fucking shit all the time. But what do I know?
Well, the EVs are going to fix all that. They're only like 3 times the amount of weight, and they only have a battery life of 5 years, so...
Yep,
I mean,
and
it's
they
going to be
only
great.
hook up to coal power plants to recharge them on their environmentally friendly recharge stations. So,
it's great for the environment. It's just going to be a boon.
The lithium battery strip mining is fantastic for the environment.
It's especially going to be good for the drivers that don't drive very often, so their battery cells are just literally going to die and rot in their garage.
Yeah. Yeah, if you don't keep it charged, it's not any good. It's the same with the SD cards, like the And the solid state stuff, if you don't give it power every once in a while, it just degrades and all your stuff is lost. So
joy. It's just a joy.
Yes, fun times.
So I'm done with my cigar. I thought it was very good.
Very good.
The second half was way better than the first half,
sure
and the
was.
first half was good.
First half was good. The second half was also good.
Yes, it built. It started in a very good place, and it ended in an even better place. Yep, you beat me to the punch. You stole my number.
Hey.
You stole my number, so-and-so.
That's all right.
But yeah, so I give it a 5. It's very good. Like,
very
top
good.
tier.
Yep.
Highly recommend it. We haven't had a bad Romeo.
We really haven't. I looked back. We haven't. The lowest we've ever given one is a 5.
The lowest you can get is a 5 out of 5.
Hell yeah.
So, yeah, no, it's wonderful. Very round tasting.
Yep.
Got a lot going on. And
a lot going on. A lot of nice flavors. Very smooth throughout with the flavor changes and everything. It wasn't ever... I don't think I ever took a puff and it was like, wow, this is way different. But it gradually built to the different flavor changes and stuff. Very smooth transitions.
Yep, didn't get bitter, which is impressive for a Toro, because this is Toro.
Perfect. Yep.
And very good cigar. Highly recommend it.
Yes. Romeo Y Julieta is one of those ones that even without smoking some of them, I wouldn't hesitate to smoke one or to pick one up.
No. Yeah, if you see it and it's like, oh, I'm going to buy one for this trip, that's definitely a good one.
Yes. Same with the mainline Rocky Patels, I think.
Yeah, I would agree with that. If you get one of the vintage years, or if you get an Edge, you're going to have a good stick for sure.
Yeah. Not the Connecticut or Broadleaf, but those are Connecticut by Rocky Patel, Broadleaf by Rocky Patel. But if you get the main offerings, Rocky Patel, whatever, it's going to be good.
Yep. That's kind of the theme, is that if it's an established company and it's advertised as like, oh, this is a, whatever branded cigar, you're going to have a good cigar. Like CAO is probably going to be a good cigar. Yep. CAO varies though, because they have a lot of variety.
They do.
So, yeah.
But yeah, I think if it's like this one, Romeo Y Julieta Reserva Real or Rocky Patel, whatever, if it's a something by Rocky Patel or by Drew Estate or by Romeo Y Julieta, it might be a different story. But if it's a main line offering, a main brand offering, it's more than likely going to be very good.
Yes.
For those brands. The Gurkhas, on the other hand, they're a little different.
Yeah. Different. That's, you're playing with fire there.
Yeah, you're likely to get a good one, but you might have to alter your smoking style. Whereas these other ones we've talked about, I didn't change anything. I smoked this one the same as I smoked the last however many cigars I smoked. And this one has been fantastic. So,
yes.
If there's any superstitions we've missed, let us know. I'd be very curious if there's any superstitions out there that we haven't touched about. I know there's a whole bunch. I found a whole bunch of like Southern superstitions, like burying a bourbon bottle a month before your wedding. You have to bury it upside down. Don't let go of somebody's hand to walk around a pole, which I've heard of that one actually. Mostly those like poles in the parking lot. Like don't let go of those. There's some other things too. So
don't step on a crack.
Step on a crack, break a runner's back, that kind of stuff. There's a lot of other superstitions that I think are kind of very regionally specific.
Sure, like meeting the devil at the crossroads at night.
Yeah. Beating him in a fiddling contest or something. Go, Johnny, go. Anyway, if there's a superstition we didn't touch on or you want to share with us, do so. We love the comments. We love the interaction with the listeners. It's great. Otherwise, thanks for listening. And don't shy away from the Romeo Y Julietas. They're a very good cigar brand that we recommend.
Be safe. Have fun.